Welcome everybody to Young Composer Reacts to the Beatles Now and Then. I'm a little sad because I was actually recording this and I was muted for like 10 minutes, but I'm doing it again. It's pretty crazy to live at a time where the Beatles are putting out songs, even though half of them are dead. And I read somewhere that the universe, it's going to be like a brief flash of stars, like a time when there's stars and planets and shit, and then just black holes forever. So I don't know, to think about the fact that we're living at the same time as them, and also to be in college now studying music and studying the history of recorded music and realizing, oh, it's only been like 70 years since there's even a solid body guitar. It's just crazy that we live now with all these influential musicians, and it's a wild ride, so let's get started.
One, two.
I know it's true. It's all because of you. And if I make it through, it's all because of you. And now and then, if we must start again, well, we will know for sure that I will love you.
Okay, I didn't notice this the first time around, but I think there's actually Paul singing layered in the background with John here. I think John wrote the song in the 70s or something. In I don't know when, but if it's a Beatles song, maybe he wrote it like right as the Beatles were gonna break up or something. I don't know if they just would take something of John's and call it the Beatles. No idea. I haven't watched the little films. I'm in it for the music. I do know that then George added guitar, and then Ringo, and then Paul added bass last year, and probably the vocals, if he is the one singing. Which has to be a crazy thing, by the way, to sing on top of your dead best friend. I mean, to be Paul McCartney is a very interesting but very painful life, to be reminded of it over and over again. And also, just hearing those two voices blended together, for me it's something special, because as I said, I'm in music college now. I didn't tell you guys this, but now you know, and that's why I'm a little busier. I post less videos, but I've loved music my entire life, and I was so scared to go and do it. But what really got me interested in making music originally and singing and all that stuff was Simon and Garfunkel and the Beatles. Like, I wanted to learn the words to the Beatles songs, and that's why I speak English. That's why I can. And it's they feel like a part of my family. They feel like friends. And it's just a tiny thing, right? But for them, to imagine in their 10-year career, it's such a short career compared to the massive influence it got, but in their career, the way they must have felt about each other was, that way times 1,000, and it's super crazy to imagine. So, very emotional song right off the bat.
Now and then, I miss you. Oh, now and then, I want you to be there for me, always to return.
what's interesting here is that I feel like the song was really built to be a ballad that John would just sing alone or something, like piano voice, and then I like conjecturing actually better than knowing what happened. So I'll just imagine that George came in later, maybe after John's passing, and just added guitar to it, acoustic guitar, right? That's what you do when you make a piano and acoustic guitar thing. I feel like most of the time you would do the piano first because it's a little more percussive. It's literally a half percussion instrument. Um, and then in that second verse, you get that kind of funky guitar. And I don't know who plays that. I don't like. I think it's George, but I haven't heard George like play a lot of funky stuff. But it sounds great. I really like the way it sounds. Also, I wanted to talk about tuning. I talk a lot about vocal processing on the channel, and a lot of people, when they hear auto-tune, they get pissed because they don't know what it is. Um, it's just a specific software to tune the voice, but there's a lot of ways to tune the voice. There's other ways that are less noticeable. But I hear an effect on John's voice that could be like flanger or just like a messed up little thing, but most likely it is actually pitch correction because I guess that thing must have been a demo somewhere and maybe they wanted to touch it up. What John often did is he made two vocal tracks, like just double takes, and that would tighten up the pitch. And I don't hear that there, so maybe that's why that choice was made. It doesn't really bother me. I think I was really pissed at some point when they were putting out like Queen or Freddie Mercury songs, and they were really touching up the vocals to the point like it was disturbing, because that technology was not available when Queen had a career and things when Freddie was alive, and it just sounded out of place. But now I'm like, hey, whatever. If it's what it takes to make a song, I mean, I guess do it. And also, pretty sure the Beatles must have been criticized back in the day for using synthesizers and whatever. And in a few years, that whole debate will be like, why did we do the equivalent of like telling a guitar player not to use a certain pedal? It's nonsense. I think if it's just a tool, and if you're not like depending on it, it's not a thing you have to use all the time. Which obviously the Beatles, as they're good singers, there's no problem there. It doesn't affect me. Yo, see how it picked up there? The tempo kind of picked up. Special mention to Ringo. I love the drumming here, and I love Ringo as a drummer in general. I love a couple things John Frusciante, my musical hero, said about Ringo. He was like, when he was in his dark phase, he wanted to actually go on tour and play a few songs, and he was looking for a string quartet, I think, that would understand why Ringo Starr is such a genius drummer. That's not a direct quote, but it's something like that, and I think that's really really funny. Um, I think yeah, his presence really kind of lifts the song because at the beginning, again, it's kind of a ballad style and it's a tiny bit slower. I'm pretty sure, and that song feels mellow at the beginning. It sounds like it could be an A minor or A flat minor. So like John is not reaching notes that are super high for him. It's right up the alley of something I would expect out of the Beatles. Honestly, like a B side somewhere or their last song like that, and it's not the long and winding road, but it's a good send off to me. Like again, it's more about uh, loving the symbol of what it represents and loving it because it's the last Beatles song than loving the intrinsic value of it. For now it's not like blowing me away, but it's like that, right? I don't keep that around because it's worth a lot. I keep it around because my best friend gave it to me, and that's why I care about it. And yeah.
And if I make it through, it's all because of you.
Okay, that's really cool. That's a really cool ending. I like the not respecting the expected time changes there. For context, I'm French. Okay, we use euro. This is not even. I can't use this dollar. Um, so it's not even that it's not worth a lot. It's literally worth nothing. I have to go to a stock exchange thing. Stock exchange? What am I saying? Whatever. It would cost more to go and exchange it than to. Well, okay, man. What am I doing? I can't edit this video, so I must stay focused. What do I think about the Beatles now and then? Well, I think it's again. I'm just blessed to live at this time where they're still doing stuff like that, and it's kind of a meme. Like I like to joke about it. Every couple of months I go on Spotify and I'm like, oh, the Beatles just put out a new version of Let It Be. Like who cares, right? But I think there's a lot of people who care. There's clearly a lot of people who care. We actually talked about the economics of the Beatles in college, and our teacher was like, well, you'd be pretty set up. You'd be set for life if you could do something like the Beatles and just have a 10-year career, and then people are still willing to buy like whatever new version of an album with new bonus songs or like new mastering you put out just because they're that in love with what you're doing, and they want to have a collection of it and stuff. But yeah, what I find interesting about Ringo's performance is that he's a little more percussive than he was with the Beatles. I feel like because you know, he was older when he played that stuff. I feel like when he was in the Beatles, there was still this little bit of influence from like jazz drummers holding their sticks the proper way, like Mitch Mitchell and stuff, and in the 2000s or something when Ringo made this, that's completely gone. Like you don't see that when you go to concerts of famous people ever, and so he was maybe hitting the snare like harder or something. I liked that. I like the idea of drummers getting like ever so slightly tighter as they age, and where when he was in the Beatles, like I love all the fills he was doing and all the improvisation he was doing, where here he even though there's fills and stuff, I mean it's Ringo, it's more about really marking that time, and really allowing the rest, like the strings, to come in and swell, and carry this song around. And I don't know if there's some George vocals in there in the chorus as well. I forgot to mention, but I picked that up on the first listen, that there's a few voices, maybe more than two. I'm not sure. Again, it's John taking the lead, and I think it's John that kind of wrote the entirety of this. Um, and with the effects, it's a little weird to try to pick up what is really happening. Also, my sound system might be busted. I don't know, because the whole sonics of the song, didn't sound that crisp to me, and that might be my end actually. Let me know. Let me know how it is on your systems. Oh, okay. Okay, there's sunlight right into the camera. I'm not doing it again, guys. I don't care. This is how it's gonna be. All right. Have yourselves a good one. Bless you. Bye bye.